Hi, thanks for joining me. Today's video is all about the August fragrance rotation. As you can see, the weather here is already cooling down, but we did have some really nice, warm, summery weather, and I reached for some fragrances from my collection that I think are really cooling and they work really well in hot weather. And then I got some samples that I was rotating through. Someone was kind enough to send me some things that they were just rehoming, they were decluttering from their collection. And I think the best is when you can get some samples sent to you that maybe weren't on your radar, and you get maybe one or two wears out of them, and then you're done. And then you can decide whether you want to buy a full bottle or find a bigger decant. But sometimes one or two wears of a scent is all you need to really decide whether you like it or not. And I was able to do that with these samples that I got. So I'll go through them. But first, let's talk about what perfumes that I know already did I reach for that are really cooling. The first one has to be Vetyver by Chantecaille. This is a grapefruit vetiver combo. It's very uplifting, smells a little bit earthy. It kind of taps into the earthy grassiness that vetiver can have. And I love this because it just smells like an air-conditioned room to me. I really like that aspect of it. Not that it smells synthetic or like air coming through like a cooling unit. It just smells like air blowing over grass. That's what it is. So cooling, perfect for hot weather. I really reach for this every single summer, and as you can see, I am running low on it. I have compared this to Chanel's Sycamore, and I don't know what I would get when this is done. I don't know if I'll replace this because I really did enjoy it every time I wore it, or whether I would get like a Guerlain vetiver because I really enjoyed Guerlain vetiver when I sampled that also. But we'll see. This will last me a little bit. I've already had this bottle since 2008, so I will enjoy it for some more years, I'm sure. And then when I come across a vetiver, I might get another vetiver or get this one. So this is Chantecaille Vetyver. It is really a straight up vetiver perfume. I bought this before I realized that vetiver is more common in men's perfume, but I really think it's unisex. I think anyone can wear a vetiver perfume, so I reached for this one a lot. The next perfume that I wore a ton of was Serge Lutens L'Orpheline. This is a aldehydic cooling frankincense perfume. So tons of frankincense in this. Again, running low on my bottle. I would for sure repurchase this if I finish this bottle because I found it to be so easy to wear. I love, love, love wearing this, and I got so many compliments on it every time I wore it. I do admittedly spray quite heavily when I wear L'Orpheline. I think I wear like 7 or 8 sprays, which is a lot for me. It's very dry where I live, so fragrance just sticks to your skin and your clothes and your hair a little bit longer, even on a hot day. So 7 or 8 sprays is a lot, but I think this is not very heavy. It's quite light, and there's nothing sweet in here. And same with vetiver. There's nothing sweet in either of these, so you can wear them a little bit more heavily without feeling like they're going to get cloying or annoying or project like crazy. I think the amount that I wore of L'Orpheline, you could smell it on me, which was fine, like at arm's length, or if you were passing by me, you could smell it, but that's okay. I got tons of compliments on it. People always thought I smelled so good. And then once I smell this with a few people that I was smelling perfume with, when they sprayed it on paper, it wasn't the same. There is something about your skin chemistry that makes this work really nicely. I think as it warms up on your skin, the aldehydes in it disappear so fast, and you really are left with this peppery, cold incense that's like incense in like and stone, like cold stone and incense. It's just gorgeous. I would love this as a candle actually, or to use as a room spray. I think it would work so well. But that was L'Orpheline. I love, love, love this perfume. Really, really enjoyed it. And I want to make many more memories with this one. So that was L'Orpheline by Serge Lutens. The last perfume that I wore a lot of is maybe a surprise because I don't normally talk about this brand. I did receive this bottle in PR, and that is Replica Never-Ending Summer. This smells straight up like an Aperol Spritz with like an orange, like a slice of orange in it. It's really good. It's really well done. The orange isn't overly sweet. It's very zesty. So you can, it's kind of like, you know, when you peel an orange and you get that orange oil from the peel on your fingers, and then you can kind of smell that the whole day. I'm getting a sense of that orange oil in the top notes of this perfume. And then it really just is, then it turns into this like Aperol Spritz kind of flavor. And it's lovely. It does capture a feeling of brightness and summertime in a perfume. I think they could have easily called this Aperol Spritz, but they didn't because maybe not everybody knows what an Aperol Spritz smells like or tastes like. It's orange, but like there's a bitterness there, and it's almost like a bitter cherry kind of note, but it's not cherry. I want to say like there's something almost poisonous in there, as strange as it sounds. And it just is kind of sunny and relaxing, and it's like sitting in the shade when there's sun outside and kind of not having a plan for the day. That is everything that's in this bottle. I think Replica does a good job of not giving you a whole bunch of notes to think about, but just giving you like a vibe of how they want you to imagine something smells, and then whatever's in the bottle just matches up to that scent. My favorite Replica perfume used to be Music Festival. I think I've talked about it before, but it always had like a weed note to it. Like it smelled like cannabis and then also patchouli, and sometimes I would get the cannabis and sometimes I wouldn't. But you know, maybe for some people that was too on the nose when it came to thinking about Music Festival, but it really worked as a fragrance, and I really did enjoy that one. I've been wearing the things that I get in PR and seeing what the hype is, and this is good. This is wearable, summery, and kind of what else do you really want in a summertime fragrance? Let's now talk about some of the samples that I wore over the month of August. As I mentioned, someone was kind enough to send me some samples that they were rehoming, and I had just enough to wear a few times on my skin, and I really enjoyed that experience, even if I didn't enjoy the perfume. The perfume that went to the top of my wish list and that surprised me that I smelled without even really thinking about it was Zoologist Harvest Mouse. And if I had looked up the notes for Harvest Mouse prior to wearing the perfume, I probably would not have even tried it on my skin, because there's a nut note that's listed. There's also a beer note that's listed. And you do get a yeasty sense of the beer, but I couldn't really get any nuts in the perfume when I wore it 3 times. And that's really all the perfume that I had to test. But Harvest Mouse to me is a predominantly benzoin forward perfume, and I love benzoin in my perfume. It accentuates the caramel nature of benzoin because it's a little bit sweet, but maybe not as sweet as something like Prada Candy, which also gives you a caramel kind of benzoin. It's still got a powderiness, but I think what I really like about it is that it was a very, very potent benzoin, and it had a good amount of lasting power, even though I don't like things that are very strong. I found that it was enough that I could wear 2 sprays from my sample and smell it for a long time. So I really appreciated that. It wasn't as light as something like Bois d'Harmonie by Guerlain, and that's another one of my favorite benzoin perfumes. It really was a more ambery forward, almost a gourmand take on benzoin, but done in a way that's very quirky, very true to the brand, because Zoologist is a more quirky brand, and I absolutely loved wearing it on my skin. And a bottle of Harvest Mouse is currently on my wish list, and hopefully I will have it in my collection soon. The other perfume that I wore a lot of was Amouage Gold Woman. And this was also on my wish list, so I was really happy to have a little decant of it. Every time I go into a store that has Amouage perfumes, I always spray Gold Woman on my skin. I think I'm a little taken with the story behind it, the fact that it has ambergris in it. I love ambergris. I love that it can be a little salty and sea-like, and it can sometimes also be animalic. And Amouage Gold Woman has ambergris in it, along with patchouli and other things in the very late stages of its dry down. But really, this is an aldehydic floral perfume, kind of in the style of Chanel No. 5. If you are familiar with Chanel No. 5, then you can get a sense of what this is like. But it's maybe stronger than Chanel No. 5, maybe more complex. I think Chanel No. 5 has changed over the years, and this smells like what perhaps an 80s version of that would smell like. The florals are really heavily accentuated. There's rose, there's lily of the valley. Kind of also reminds me of YSL Rive Gauche. It is that 80s feminine powerhouse kind of smell, and it works so well. I love those kinds of perfumes, and Amouage Gold Woman really does match my aesthetic. I love those scents, but I wasn't wowed enough when I wore it at home to keep Amouage Gold Woman on my wish list. And that's interesting. Sometimes that happens where you fixate on a scent and you think that it would work so well on you, and then when you get it, it's just kind of like, whatever. It's not as intriguing anymore once you actually end up getting it. So the next one I tried was DVN Neon Garden. DVN stands for Dries Van Noten. This is maybe the third or fourth one that I've had the misfortune of putting on my skin from this line. I am so torn about what to think about this line. And many years ago, when this first came out, I think maybe like 2 years ago, was when Dries Van Noten launched their collection. 2 or 3 years. It's been 2 or 3 years. Someone told me that they all smelled very generic, and I heard that and listened to it, and I continued to try them anyways, because the bottles are so beautiful and they do end up getting a lot of hype. These are indeed very basic smelling, and Neon Garden was maybe my least favorite perfume that I've tried in a long time. It is disappointingly bad because it just smells like, I don't know, this could be like a Hugo Boss perfume. Not that that's a bad thing. Like, the Hugo Boss perfumes for men are generally very well done, but they're also just at the drugstore. So if you want a bottle of it, you can easily go today and get them. The Dries Van Noten perfumes are a little bit harder to find. They're not at any department store that I know of here. They are only at niche perfumeries or at the Dries Van Noten boutiques. So they're a little bit harder for you to get your nose on, which means that they are niche. And they're niche, but they're just done by a big perfume house. There's no history here. There's no focus on materials. They're just pretty bottles. And I don't know. This smells terrible. I think the thing that I don't like about this is that there is an overdose of a material called Agicala wood, which is a patchouli derivative. It has an intense amount of lasting power, an intense amount of sillage. You can put this on your skin and you will not be able to wash it off. You will probably need 2 or 3 showers to be able to get rid of it, maybe even nail polish remover to get rid of it. And that is not something that's pleasant. It makes me feel uncomfortable. And that's not the kind of wear that I want in my perfume. The new Amouage perfumes, especially Outlands, also have an overdose of this material. And I guess that is why some people like them, because they want to smell their perfumes forever, or maybe they're not as sensitive to that and they're becoming nose blind to it. Whatever the case, I don't like it. Not my aesthetic, and this was awful. I did put this directly on skin. I didn't think to put it on paper first, and I really regretted it. So yeah, that was a miss for me. That's Dries Van Noten Neon Garden. I have smelled the whole entire line. So when I was in Italy, there is a store there that has the entire line. You can spray it on paper, spray it on your skin. You can buy travel sizes. I was not compelled to buy any of them. Actually, the one that is the green one that smells like, that has a cannabis note to it, reminded me of Music Festival by Replica. So Replica is, again, easily available at your local Sephora store, not hard to find at all. But if you are just coming out with perfumes that smell like Replica perfumes, then what is the point? I don't know. It's really hard to do a negative perfume review because you don't want to yuck someone's yum, and I'm sure there are people out there that really love this perfume. Like I said, I got just a tiny amount of this scent, and I don't want to offend the person that sent it to me. Maybe they really enjoyed it, and I hope they did. I hope that if you really love this perfume, you continue to wear it. Just is too much for me. And I think that as I continue with this journey of perfume, I like to really curate my collection. And there's a certain aesthetic that I want my collection to embody, and this just did not match that. And there is a place for reviews that tell you whether the perfume or whatever matches up to the aesthetic or not. And this doesn't do it for me. So that was Neon Garden. Okay, so the next perfume I wore a ton of was La Douleur Exquise by Les Abstraits. Again, got this in the same sample pack, and I actually requested this because I used to have this sample and then I ran out of it. This is a gorgeous rose patchouli perfume. It's quite powdery. It is a little bit animalic. It's very strong. This is done by Antoine Lee. The whole collection is amazing, but this is the rose patchouli that I would add to my collection if I was buying a rose patchouli perfume today. I know that Les Abstraits is coming out with another new perfume soon, probably this fall, and without even smelling it, that one is on my wish list because all of the ones that I've tried, well, there's only 3, all 3 are really well done. They're all wearable, they're all intense but not overly intense, and so I will want to smell that one as well. I really enjoyed wearing this. As you can tell, I've been wearing it. I got more wear out of this than I did of some of the other samples. I probably wore this 3 or 4 times this month, and I will continue to wear it. And then if I ever see a bottle on sale, I will get a bottle. I always said that if I ever finished my bottle of Portrait of a Lady, I would get a bottle of La Douleur Exquise instead, because I think that for me, it's a little bit more interesting than Portrait of a Lady. I love Portrait of a Lady. I love how spicy it is. I love how intense it is. But La Douleur Exquise also has like the animalic notes that I love and the powder that I really love in perfume. So this is a scent that's also on my wish list, and I will continue to wear it. Every time I do a fragrance rotation, I can't help it. I talk about something that is fragranced but not perfume. I think that being very much into perfume and talking about it all the time, I have really come to pay more attention to other things in our world that are fragranced. I mean, obviously, hair care products, body creams, and screens, and all that. Functional scents are part of our lives as well. Today, I'm talking about this gorgeous jar, and this is a jar of Portrait of a Lady body butter. However, the body butter is finished. And what I did is inside this jar, I put CeraVe healing ointment, because the CeraVe healing ointment comes in this huge jar, very much like Aquaphor. This is very much like an Aquaphor kind of product. If you have Aquaphor in your life, then you know what I'm talking about, or Vaseline. Comes in a big, not that pretty jar. I decided to save this jar of body butter, and the body butter was done. I actually ran this through the dishwasher, and then I filled it with the CeraVe healing ointment. I can still smell Portrait of a Lady in this jar, to the point where the CeraVe healing ointment, this ointment is now scented. Like very slightly scented. It's not scented enough that you would be able to smell it if I rubbed it on my hands, but it is still scented. When I use it and I put it on my hands, I use this every morning and every night on my hands. When I put it on my hands, I can smell Portrait of a Lady. I can smell that rose patchouli combo. I'm not getting all the nuances of Portrait of a Lady. I'm not getting the spice, like the intense spice that I love about that scent. I'm not getting all of that, but I am getting the rose and the patchouli, the like incensey kind of patchouli that's in Portrait of a Lady. And that is how strongly scented these body care products are. And that's what you're paying for when you get something by Frederic Malle. So I thought that that was very interesting. I do like to save jars, and I've talked about saving candle vessels before. I love how elegant this packaging is, because there is nothing shimmery, shiny, glossy on it. It just has the logo of the brand on the top. It just says, it says EDPFM, which is Édition de Parfum Frederic Malle. That's what that stands for. That's all it has on it. But then the rest of the jar is just black. And I love this beside my bed. So that is, I mean, if you are in a position to buy other products from this brand, you will not be disappointed in how strongly they smell. And it probably took, I don't know, 4 years or so for this jar to empty, because this was such a potent body butter. It is not a cream that you would rub on yourself from head to toe like you would most body butters. I think like I really just used a tiny bit at a time. That's why it lasted so long, but I could not get rid of this jar, and I held on to it. So that's my product that is fragranced but not perfume. If you've tried other body care products from this brand, let me know what you think. I have a Frederic Malle candle, and I still haven't burned it yet because I'm a hoarder. No, I'm not a hoarder. I actually love to get rid of things, and I love to use things that I buy. I think you should use the special things that you buy, especially your perfume, because it is created to be used, not just to sit on a shelf and look pretty. But I think I will probably burn my Frederic Malle candle on a day that I feel depressed. Maybe I'm just waiting for a really bad day, and that's when I'll take it out to make myself feel better. Or I'll just spray a ton of perfume on. One of the two. Anyways, thank you for joining me. If you watched all the way through, I appreciate you so much, and let me know what you have been wearing. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.